Thank you, Piers, for that very, very kind introduction. And congratulations to you all. What a wonderful day. And particularly congratulations to all those girls who managed to make it up here in those fabulous shoes. Good work. Gone were the days when I could have done that. But good for you and good for everybody and all you've achieved today. As Piers mentioned, I've graduated Warwick twice. I've also had 3 children, each of whom have managed to bag at least 2 degrees each. So I've had my fair share of experience with these ceremonies. And it strikes me that the people doing my job today are always highly organised and focused and accomplished. And I have to confess to you, it's not how I view myself. So bear with me and we'll see how we go. I think my task today, as Piers mentioned, is to talk a little bit about how I got here and also to speak a little bit about the how, and which is something I'm still working on, and offer some top tips for whatever might come for you. So I'll do my best, but I'll be honest with you, when I left Warwick, I didn't have a plan. And absolutely, to be honest with you, I still don't. But with today in mind, I've been thinking about what I wanted to achieve when I sat where you're sitting now. And whilst I didn't have a plan, I did want to accomplish 2 things, which I'm pleased to say are still my measures of success. Firstly, and here's where I somewhat predictably say I wanted to make a difference, not so unusual, as most people in my experience do, but I did and I still do want to work at something which matters to me. Frankly, if you care about what you do, it's a lot easier to get up in the morning. And secondly, I wanted to be a woman my estimable grandmother would approve of. My grandmother, Marjorie Allison, lived a fascinating life, which included accompanying her husband into post-war Germany 80 years ago this month, almost to the day, in 1945, to oversee the clean-up and closure of the death camps. She never said a stupid thing as far as I can recall. And one of the things she often reminded me, and I'll share with you, is that there are 2 kinds of people in the world. Those that when they come for your neighbours at 4 in the morning, and it is always 4 in the morning, you either stand in your front garden and bang your pots and pans together to bear witness to the ignominy, or you lie in bed and you pull the coverlet up over your nose and hope if you lie still and quiet, they'll not come for you. I obviously wanted to be a pots and pans type of person, so I tried to bear witness and make noise wherever and whenever possible. That has led me all over the world, committing to jobs without, frankly, knowing what was involved, like applying to become a union organiser in the States, straight from Warwick, without the first clue what that entailed. I was still in one piece 3 years later, though I've never done anything that terrifying since. I've had the privilege of campaigning for workers' rights, organising strike lines in the South, a place where violence and pork seems to come with everything, of running women's centres for a decade in London, campaigning to set up and grow social enterprises, support children's cancer care in parts of the world where children with cancer are tragically given aspirin and not much more, and campaigning for environmental protection against the worst our consumer society has to throw at the natural world. I've loved almost every minute of it, and I've learnt a load. If you care about what you do, you will enjoy it, even if it terrifies you, and you won't be wasting your time. I think other than a social conscience, the trait that helps in challenging the status quo is resilience. I don't think I'm the hardest working and certainly not the cleverest person in any organisation I've had the privilege to work for. But I am relentless, and that does get things done. Michael Gove, former Secretary of State for DEFRA, left some very amusing advice for his successor, which she shared with me. He told her, "Do what Alison asks, it's easier." There's never been a more critical time than now to stand up for the environment, particularly after yesterday. The climate crisis is unequivocal. The world is now burning, melting and flooding with dizzying speed. The last 10 years are the hottest on record, breaking the 1.5 degree warming barrier in 2024. A Rubicon world leaders have previously agreed not to let us cross. But it isn't too late, and we must act now. Hope is with your generation, as mine have not done enough quickly enough. We can all act to improve our personal impact, and we must demand better politicians, again, mindful of yesterday's developments. Leaders that make decisions that benefit us, cohabitees of planet Earth, and not the corporations, namely the petrochemical companies and mass producers, the architects of environmental insecurity, that have robbed you of the climate security future previous generations took for granted. Currently, in my world, the UK litters a staggering 30 million tonnes of litter a year, about 2.25 million items a day, 500% up on 1960. We use around 7 million single-use plastic-lined coffee cups a day, and litter or send to landfill an eye-watering 22 million plastic bottles of such commonplace commodities like water every single day. Each of those plastic bottles left by the roadside or dumped in a river, we know, eventually break down to over 20,000 micro pieces, accounting for the microplastics each and every one of us has in our bloodstream, as plastic in its micro form has now entered the food chain. We can do so much better. We have to. We can innovate better products. We can stop buying single-use plastic items. We can help protect the environment and ourselves by recycling and cutting consumption. We can cut back or simply stop eating meat. We can insist that a thriving society is not defined and predicated on ever-increasing consumption, but becomes one that demands to know the true price of what it produces, consumes, and disposes of. Where we talk fluently about the cost of carbon, habitat destruction, and redefine what we mean by growth. Oil and coal are not our friends. No matter what you choose to do, you can develop a curiosity about the environmental impact, and you can, and I know you will, make a difference. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So when they finally introduce a deposit return scheme, they're actually debating it in Parliament today, to get those millions of single-use plastic bottles off the streets. And when we eventually come to our senses and ban things like so-called disposable barbecues that burn down hundreds of precious acres of woodland and grassland every year due to inevitable operator failure, know that it was relentlessness that brought those improvements about and got me out of bed in the morning. And you can do that too, and hopefully so much more. I wish you good luck. You've had a great education, so you shouldn't need luck. Just tenacity when things inevitably get hard and go wrong. And above all, be optimistic about the difference you can make. The future is inarguably, and I believe reassuringly, in your hands. Have a great day. You've earned it.